Most men treat competition like it is where the work happens. The pitch, the interview, the game, the launch, the moment when they are standing in front of the person or the room or the opportunity that matters and they are performing, competing, showing what they are made of. That is what they prepare for. That is what they think about. That is the thing they imagine when they imagine success, and they are wrong. Not about competition mattering. It matters. The pitch either lands or it doesn't. Game is either won or lost. Opportunity is either taken or it passes. Competition is real, and the stakes in it are real. But competition is not where the outcome is decided. The outcome is decided before competition begins. In the hours and days and months and years of preparation that happened behind the scenes, when no one was watching and nothing was on the line, and the work being done had no immediate audience and no immediate reward and no guarantee that the moment it was preparing for would ever actually arrive. Man who wins the competition almost always decides the outcome in the preparation. Man who loses it almost always lost it there too. The preparation that was not serious enough, not deep enough, not sustained enough to produce the level of performance the competition required. By the time you are standing in the moment of competition, the result is mostly already written. What is happening in front of everyone is the reading of what was written behind the scenes. The question is not whether you can perform under pressure. Question is whether the preparation is deep enough to give you something real to perform with. First Corinthians 9 verses 24 to 27. Paul uses the language of athletic competition to make a spiritual argument. But the principle cuts across everything a man builds. Everyone who competes goes into strict training, not some competitors. Everyone who competes seriously. The training is not optional for the man who wants to win. The training is the work. The competition is the test of the work. And the man who arrives at the test without having done the work is not competing. He is hoping. Hope is not a preparation strategy. Paul says, I do not run aimlessly. I do not fight like a boxer beating the air. There is intention in the preparation, there is precision, there is a deliberate, sustained, unglamorous work of making the body and the mind and the spirit ready for the moment the competition demands. Not because the moment is visible yet, but the but because the man who waits until the moment is visible to begin preparing has already lost. Let me be specific about what behind the scenes work actually means. Because it's easy to agree with the principle and miss what it requires in practice. Serious preparation is not the work you do when you know the competition is coming. Any man can work hard when the deadline is visible and the stakes are clear and the pressure is real. That kind of preparation is common. It is also usually insufficient. Because the preparation that produces genuine competitive advantage is not the preparation done in the final split. It is the preparation done consistently over a long period before the sprint begins. It is the reading done before anything specific to read for. It is the reading done before there is anything specific to read for. The skill developed before there is a clear application for it. The discipline maintained before there is an obvious reason to maintain it. The work put into the thing in the quiet seasons when there is nothing on the line. So, so that when something is on the line, the work is already in the body, already in the mind, already available without having to be manufactured under pressure. Ecclesiastes 10 verse 10. If the axe is dull and its edge is unsharpened, more strength is needed, but skill will bring success. The unsharpened axe can still cut, but it requires more effort to produce less result. Man who arrives at the competition with a dull axe, who has not done the behind the scenes work of sharpening, will work harder than the man who has prepared and produced less. He will exhaust himself trying to compensate with effort for what should have been built into the tool long before the tree needed cutting. Sharpening the axe is not cutting the tree, it produces nothing visible. It takes time that could be spent on what looks like real work. And yet, it is the most important work because everything that comes after it is determined by whether it is done. The behind the scenes work is sharpening. It is the investment, the tool in yourself, in your craft, in the specific capabilities the competition will require, made before the competition, in the quiet, without the validation of an audience, urgency of a deadline. It is the most important work you will ever do, and it is almost never the work that feels most urgent. Proverbs 21, verse 5. The plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. The diligent man is not the man who works hardest in the final moment. He is the man who planned and prepared and invested consistently before the final moment, so that when the final moment arrived, the work was already done, and what remained was simply the execution of what was already built. A hasty man works hard at the wrong time. He substitutes last minute intensity for sustained preparation and wonders why the result does not match the effort. Effort was real, timing was wrong. You cannot cram your way to genuine competence. You can only build it slowly, consistently, behind the scenes, long before anyone is watching. I wanted to spend some time with Joseph because his story is the clearest illustration of in all of scripture of what behind the scenes preparation actually produces. Joseph did not prepare for Pharaoh's court. He could not have. There was no path visible from the pit his brothers threw him into, from the house of Potiphar, from the prison he was unjustly placed in. No path that was no path that a reasonable man could have seen leading to the second seat of power in the most powerful empire in the world. The destination was not visible from where he was standing. It was not something he could have prepared for or prepared toward in any direct sense. And yet he was ready when it came. Not because he had prepared for that specific moment, because he had been faithful in every moment before that. Potiphar's house, where he managed the household with excellence and integrity when he could have done the minimum. The prison, where he served the other prisoners and interpreted their dreams when no one was asking him to lead anything. In every environment that was designed to diminish him, he found something to do with excellence and did it in that way, not because excellence was being rewarded, but, but because it was a standard he had decided to hold regardless of who was watching or what was on the line. Genesis 41. Pharaoh says to Joseph, there is no one so discerning and wise as you. You shall be in charge of my palace. That is the competition moment. That is the room where everything changes. And Pharaoh's verdict, wise, discerning, the most qualified man available, was not produced in that room. It was produced in 13 years of behind the scenes faithfulness in conditions that had no obvious connection to the outcome. A pit, foreign house, a prison, all of it was a preparation for a moment Joseph did not know was coming. The man who wins the room was built outside it. In the years before the room existed, the work done for no audience and no reward and no guarantee that the room would ever appear. That work is what he brought into the room, and the room simply revealed what the work had built. Luke 14, verses 28 to 30. Count the cost before you build. Sit down and estimate what is required before you begin. Because the man who starts without counting, begins without adequate preparation, will not finish. And everyone who sees the unfinished tower will know that builder began without enough to complete what he started. The counting is the behind the scenes work, the estimating, the honest reckoning with what the competition will actually require, and the deliberate investment in building that capacity before the competition demands it. Man who does that work, who counts the cost and builds accordingly, arrives at the competition with enough. Man who does not arrives with a foundation and no building. Second Timothy chapter 2 verse 15. Present yourself as one approved, a worker who does not need to be ashamed. The approval Paul is describing is not the approval of the audience in the moment of competition. It is the approval of God, who sees the behind the scenes work, who knows whether the preparation was serious or sufficient, who is not fooled by the performance in the room when the preparation outside it was thin. The worker who does not need to be ashamed is the worker who gave the preparation what it required, who sharpened the axe before the tree needed cutting, who counted the cost before laying the foundation, who went into strict training before the competition began, who did the work in the quiet season so that the loud moment would have something real to reveal. So let me give you something practical. Not a theory about preparation, a way of actually doing it. The first thing is to identify what the competition in your life actually requires, not generally, specifically. The pitch you are building toward, the role you are trying to step into, the level you are trying to reach. What does it specifically require of you that you do not yet fully have? What is the gap between where your preparation is right now and where it needs to be for the moment that is coming? Most men do not ask that question precisely enough. They have a vague sense that they need to be better prepared, but they do not break it down into the specific capacities that the specific competition requires. And because the gap is vague, the preparation is vague, and vague preparation does not produce the man the competition needs. Get specific, name the gap, then build a behind the scenes practice around closing it. Not in the final sprint before the competition, but now, in the quiet season, before the pressure is on and the deadline is missing. Treat the behind the scenes work like it is the competition, because it is. The result of the competition is being decided right now in whether you are doing the preparation or not. Every day you invest in the behind the scenes work is a day the outcome of the competition shifts in your favor. Every day you do not, the day it shifts against you. The scoreboard is not visible yet, but it is run. The second thing is to hold the standard in the preparation that you want to hold in this competition, in the competition. The man who prepares carelessly and competes carefully is kidding himself. You perform at a level where you practice. The standard you hold when nothing is on the line is the standard that will be available to you when everything is. If the behind the scenes work is being done at 70%, the competition will get 70%, regardless of how much you want to give it more in a moment. Paul said it plainly. I strike a blow to my body and make it my slave. The discipline of the preparation is not separate from the performance of the competition. It is the performance. The competition is just the test of whether the discipline was real. Make it real, in private, behind the scenes, before the moment arrives. Because the moment is coming, it always comes. And when it does, when you are standing in the room where the outcome matters, only question will be whether the work done behind the scenes was deep enough to give you something real to stand on. Make sure it is. There is one thing I want to carry. I want you to carry out of this episode. Competition is your life. The pitch, opportunity, the moment that matters is not where the outcome is decided, it is where the outcome is revealed. The outcome is being decided right now. It is in the behind the scene works, whether the preparation is serious and sustained and built to the standard the competition will require. Ask yourself honestly, is the preparation I'm doing right now deep enough to produce the result I want when the moment comes? Not almost deep enough, not good enough for where I am right now, deep enough for where the competition is going to demand I perform. If the answer is yes, keep going. The work is working, stay in it. If the answer is no, then today is the day preparation gets serious, not when the competition is closer, not when the deadline is visible. Today, in the quiet, behind the scenes, the outcome is actually being decided. Joseph did not know Pharaoh's court was coming. He just kept doing excellent work in every environment he was placed in. And when the room appeared, he was ready, not because he had prepared for that room specifically, but because he had been faithful in every room before it. Do the work behind the scenes. Do it with everything you have. Do it before the competition makes it urgent, because by the time the competition makes it urgent, the time for preparation is almost gone. The work is behind the scenes, competition is the easy part. I know what I just asked you to go back and look at. Some of you are going to realize the preparation has not been serious enough. That is not a verdict, that is information. The information is the beginning of a correction. Start today, behind the scenes, where it actually counts. This is Built Not Felt by the Rice Code. I'll see you all in the next episode.